Welcome to this Firewatch video training program. Firewatch services are required by law when the premises fire alarm system and or fire sprinkler system has been shut down or is not functional. As a result, a Firewatch guard is employed to patrol the premises in order to detect fire hazards such as accumulated garbage, persons smoking in non-smoking areas, trespassers, blocked or propped open fire exit doors, missing or damaged fire extinguishers, missing or damaged fire hoses, blocked fire hose cabinets, equipment left plugged in or on but unattended, etc., smoke, hazardous fumes, or vapors and sprinkler system water leakage. The fire triangle. Before we begin, it is important to understand how a fire can start, and in knowing this basic information, we can greatly reduce the risk of fire as well as understand how to extinguish a fire. The fire triangle, which is also known as the combustion triangle, is a model for understanding the three basic elements a fire needs to occur. They are fuel, or something to burn, heat, and oxygen or air. If you have these three elements, you will have the right recipe for a fire. If you can remove any one of these three elements, you can safely reduce the risk of a fire or safely put out the fire. As a Firewatch guard, you will be on the lookout for any fuel in the way of wood, paper, cloth, boxes, garbage, or any other material that may be placed near a heat source, such as a heater, boiler, oven, or other hot or warm appliance, as this could create a fire. As well, in putting out a small fire, you might use a fire extinguisher that uses a chemical to smother, remove the air from the fire, or water to remove the heat from the fire by cooling it. The top three common causes of fire. As a Firewatch guard, it is important you know the top three common causes of a fire. They are, number 1, unattended equipment, such as stoves, ovens, coffee makers, irons, machinery, and tools that use or produce heat, for example, welding torches, soldering irons, and heat guns, as well as gas-powered devices. Number 2, portable or temporary heaters, powered by gas or electricity. If left unattended, temporary heaters could, over time, generate enough heat to cause items to burn that are within 10 feet of them. Number 3, electrical faults and malfunctions, caused by short circuits, overloading, improper wiring, the improper use of extension cords, and equipment failure. To recap so far, you now know the three elements of the fire triangle are oxygen, fuel, and heat. If you have these three elements together, you run the risk of a fire. So, as a Firewatch guard, you must be on the lookout for situations where fuel and heat may be combined to create fire. However, if you do have a fire and remove any one of these three elements, the fire will be extinguished, such as using a fire extinguisher that will use a chemical substance to smother the fire by removing oxygen, or water, which will cool down the fire by removing heat. You also know the three common causes of fire, so you can also be on the lookout for them as well. They are unattended equipment plugged in or left running, portable and temporary heaters left on with no one around, and electrical faults or malfunctions where you might see sparks or smell a strange electrical burning odor. 3 classes or types of fires. Fires and fire extinguishers are classified based on the main type of fuel, which is also known as combustible, that the fire is based on. In general, there are 3 types or classes of fuels or combustibles. Type A is used to represent wood, paper, cloth, and general rubbish or garbage. Type B is used to represent flammable liquids such as oils, grease, petroleum, gas, liquid propane, etc. Type C is used to represent electrical equipment such as computers, electric heaters, electrical panels, and boxes. It is important to know that the only fire you can safely extinguish with water is a Class A or Type A fire involving wood, paper, cloth, and general garbage. Water cannot be safely used to extinguish a Class B flammable liquid fire, as the flammable liquid will travel on top of the water and spread the fire further. On a Class C electrical fire, water cannot be used as it will create a dangerous shock hazard to you and others, even if the power is turned off, as electricity may still be present in the device's batteries or capacitors. Should you encounter a Class B or C fire, only if it is safe to do so, the fuel valve, heat source, or electricity must be turned off before attempting to use a fire extinguisher on this type of fire. In most cases, it is best just to evacuate the area and call the fire department. Fire extinguishers. Using a fire extinguisher. In order to use a fire extinguisher, you really need to have practical hands-on training. However, in this video, we will cover an overview of how to use a fire extinguisher to help you better understand and clear up any myths about fire extinguishers. First of all, there are two very important things you must be aware of. A fire extinguisher cannot be used on a medium to large-sized fire and can only be used on a small fire in what is known as the incipient stage, which means beginning or early stage. Second, a fully charged fire extinguisher may only last 10 to 20 seconds, depending on how large it is. After that, it won't work, so you really have to know how to use it properly. The incipient stage of a fire is the only time you can use a fire extinguisher. The characteristics or conditions of the incipient stage are: the fire has been burning for less than 5 minutes. The fire is limited to a single original material that has been ignited. The fire has not yet spread to any other material. The flames are no higher than 1 meter or 1 yard. You can breathe easily in the room as there is very little smoke or odor. You can easily see the room through what little smoke there is. There is a clear way out of the fire area from behind you. If you answered yes to all these questions, then the fire is in the incipient stage, and if you are trained and feel competent on using a fire extinguisher, you may attempt to use it on the fire. However, you must understand a fire can expand and get worse at the rate of 7 times its size in 1 minute. Therefore, you must never attempt to use a fire extinguisher if you are by yourself, no one knows where you are, or you have even the slightest doubt about how to use an extinguisher. It is always best to call 911, the fire department, and let the fire department take care of it. Fire extinguisher classifications. As we mentioned earlier, fires and fire extinguishers are classified based on the main type of fuel, which is also known as a combustible, that the fire is based on. In general, there are 3 types or classes of fuels or combustibles. Class A is used to represent wood, paper, cloth, and general rubbish or garbage. Class B is used to represent flammable liquids such as oils, grease, petroleum, gas, liquid, or propane. Class C is used to represent electrical equipment such as computers, electrical heaters, electrical panels, and boxes. On the fire extinguisher, you will see the letters A, B, or C, or a combination of these such as BC or ABC. This is why it's important to know what letters represent what type of fuel or combustible the extinguisher can be used on. An extinguisher with an A on it can only be used for wood, paper, cloth, or a garbage fire. In many buildings, you will find multi-purpose extinguishers marked ABC. An ABC extinguisher can be used on all of these three classes or types of fires. Although, as a fire watch guard, you should know what each class is. On an ABC extinguisher, all you have to think of when you see these letters together, ABC, is any burning combustible, which means you can use it pretty much on anything that burns. But please be sure to check the label to be sure what letters are on the extinguisher before you need to use it. To use a fire extinguisher, you must first be sure you are standing about 8 to 10 feet from the fire, and there is an exit behind you. Be sure to check the fire extinguisher class or type, that it's for the fire you're going to use it on. Now you are ready to use the PASS system, P-A-S-S. It stands for P, pull the pin of the extinguisher. A, aim the hose nozzle of the extinguisher at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger of the extinguisher. S, sweep the nozzle across the base of the fire, spreading the contents across the base of the fire. PASS, P-A-S-S, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Get out immediately if the extinguisher is empty and the fire is not out, or if the fire appears to be spreading. Call the fire department. Using a fire extinguisher. The following steps should be followed when responding to an incipient stage fire. Sound the fire alarm and call the fire department if appropriate. Identify a safe evacuation path before approaching the fire. Do not allow the fire, heat, or smoke to come between you and your evacuation path. Select the appropriate type of fire extinguisher. Discharge the extinguisher within its effective range using the PASS technique. P-A-S-S. Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Back away from an extinguisher fire in case it flames up again. Evacuate immediately if the extinguisher is empty and the fire is not out. Evacuate immediately if the fire progresses beyond the incipient stage. Inspecting fire extinguishers. As a fire watch guard, when you do the first patrol of your shift, you should do a visual inspection of the fire extinguishers and note where they are located. For the most part, you will just check to see if they are in their cabinet or on their wall bracket, and the yellow arrow is in the green range of the dial indicating they are ready to use if you need them. If they are missing, or the yellow arrow is in the red range, you will note these details on your fire watch report indicating the location on the premises. In some cases, you may be instructed to do an inspection of the fire extinguishers while on patrol. To do this, you will check to see if the extinguisher is in its cabinet or wall hanger. Check to be sure the pin is in the extinguisher. If not, it may have been used and not working. Check the extinguisher dial to see if the yellow pointer is in the green area. Examine the body of the extinguisher for dents or holes. Examine the hose for cracks, holes, or if the end of the hose is blocked. Examine the seal area for cracks or gaps, that is, where the trigger and extinguisher body meet. Examine the trigger for dents or damage. Verify that the plastic safety seal is present and not broken. If not, it could indicate that the extinguisher may have been used or tampered with. Note any of these conditions in your fire watch report, and be sure to provide the location of the fire extinguisher you are reporting. It is important to know that some fire cabinets will sound an alarm once you open them, so do not open the fire cabinet unless it has been confirmed they are not alarmed, or if you have been instructed to do so for the purpose of an inspection. Fire hoses. Using a fire hose requires special training that is not a part of fire watch training or a requirement of a fire watch guard. A fire hose uses water under an extreme amount of pressure. Because the hose uses water, it cannot be safely used on Class B or C fires, which involve flammable chemicals, fuels, or electricity. As the hose uses water under high pressure, it cannot be used by one person safely unless it is equipped with a special device by a person specially trained in its use. However, as a fire watch guard, you should make a visual inspection of the hose without touching it, to ensure water isn't leaking from the hose nozzle and its connection, and to see that it is properly hanging on its rack. If the hose is leaking, not neatly hanging from its rack, or missing, you must report this, giving the exact location of the problem on your fire watch report. It is important to know that some fire hose cabinets will sound an alarm once you open them, so do not open the fire hose cabinet unless you have been instructed to do so. Fire watch guard equipment. Under the law, anyone who does a fire watch must have some basic equipment in order to do the job safely and correctly. They must have a cellular telephone or two-way radio so they can notify the fire department in the event of a fire emergency. A whistle, air horn, loudspeaker, or other signaling device so they can alert the occupants of the property to evacuate the premises due to the fire emergency. A logbook, a digital or paper form where they must list the times they did their half-hourly or hourly fire watch patrol of the premises, noting where they patrolled and what they observed, as well as what time they patrolled. In the interest of safety, the fire watch guard should also wear a fluorescent yellow or orange vest so they can easily be identified by others as the fire watch guard on duty. This vest will also help in locating the fire watch guard on the premises by emergency first responders should they become injured and unable to exit the premises. The fire watch guard should also always carry a small pocket flashlight, whether on duty during the day or night, as should a fire occur, the electricity, specifically the lights, will go out. Even if it is daytime, if the fire watch guard is in the basement, underground parking levels, or mechanical room where there are no windows, this will leave the guard in the dark, thus creating a trip hazard or leaving them to be trapped on the premises. As well, should smoke accumulate in the building, the flashlight can be used to signal for help or help direct others to evacuate safely. Legal duties of a fire watch guard. In the event of a fire, the fire watch guard must call the fire department at 911 and sound a manual alarm and inform all occupants of the premises via bell, whistle, air horn, or PA system to evacuate the building due to the fire emergency. The basic guidelines and legal framework for fire watch guards, in accordance with the National Fire Prevention Association, NFPA, Ontario Fire Code, and most municipalities are: the prime duties of a fire watch guard are to identify a potential fire hazard, to detect a fire situation and call the fire department, and to inform and safely evacuate any occupants once a fire has been detected. Fire watch guards shall remain in the building as per the contracted client requirement until relieved by another fire watch guard or until the fire watch is ended, unless they have evacuated the building due to a fire emergency and, in this case, must remain at a safe distance in front of the building entrance awaiting the fire department. When each fire watch guard assumes fire watch duties, they must ensure all exits are unobstructed, all stairwells are free from storage, fire extinguishers and fire hoses are in their designated location or cabinet, all fire doors are properly closed, they have an up-to-date list of any person in the building and their location, such as floor or suite number, particularly those who may require special assistance in an evacuation, and they are fully aware of the procedure to evacuate the building in the event of fire. Fire watch guards are required to conduct at minimum an hourly patrol of the premises. However, in some municipalities and under certain conditions, fire watch guards and fire watch patrols conduct patrols at 30-minute intervals. A detailed chronological log of the half-hourly or hourly fire watch patrol with each area inspected and anomalies observed and emergency procedures executed, if applicable, must be maintained and submitted to the client. Fire watch guards conducting a fire watch in a building where the fire alarm is not functioning must have with them at all times during the fire watch a bell, a bullhorn or air horn or whistle or some other loud signaling device with which they may notify building occupants in the event of an emergency during the fire watch. A mobile telephone or two-way radio with which they may contact emergency services as required, and a flashlight to use in the event of a power outage and signaling device. It is important to keep in mind that even during daylight hours, should power go out due to a fire emergency, windowless mechanical rooms, stairwells, and underground parking garages will have little or no light, and a flashlight will help reduce the risk of tripping and falling during an evacuation. In the event of an emergency, fire watch guards must call the fire department immediately and direct any building occupants to the nearest safe exit or stairwell. Elevators must not be used during a fire emergency. In a fire emergency, the fire watch guards will, if applicable, ensure the elevators are placed on fire service mode and they are not used by occupants for building evacuation purposes. Fire watch guards are not required nor expected to fight fires, but merely to detect the fire, call the fire department, and to assist building occupants in evacuating the building. Fire watch guard duties. Conduct hourly or half-hourly fire watch patrols. Detect fire. Alert the building occupants and the fire department of a fire situation. Move building occupants out of the premises safely. Wait for the fire department in the front of the premises. Risk management and fire watch. As a fire watch guard, your job is fire risk management. In order to do this, you will look for possible safety hazards that could cause a fire, such as garbage accumulation, items stored too close to heaters and boilers. Be sure stairwell doors are kept closed, so in the event of a fire, smoke cannot be trapped in or moved through the building using the stairwell. As well, the stairs are the only way for people to evacuate the building and must be kept smoke-free and safe. More people die from smoke inhalation during a fire than being burned. Stairwell doors, landings, and the stairs themselves must not be blocked and free of any garbage and items that could cause someone to trip. Check that fire exit doors are not blocked by boxes, furniture, such as chairs, or have garbage in front of them on either side of the door. As well, they must not be locked or chained closed, but must be able to be opened from the inside of the building to the outside, but not necessarily be opened from the outside of the building. You will also visually inspect that fire hoses and fire extinguishers are not blocked and in their proper place. If you encounter any of these situations during your fire watch shift, report them immediately. Hot Work Fire Watch. Hot Work Fire Watch is a specialized type of fire watch required whenever a contractor uses an open flame appliance such as a torch or roofer's hot bucket. The fire watch guard is responsible for the area affected by the hot work, including identifying hazards, and must be trained in the use of fire extinguishers, sounding the alarm, and emergency reporting, and has been issued an emergency contact list. The fire watch guard must conduct and continue fire watch for a minimum of 1 hour after hot work is performed, or for a minimum of 3 hours after hot work has been performed for roofing projects or for hot work within 5 meters, 16-foot radius of a roofing surface. Fire watch guards must conduct a fire watch continuously during hot work. Notices and signage must be posted as required, such as caution or restricted area. A fully charged and operable 4A40BC type fire extinguisher at minimum must be available and accessible at the hot work area. All combustible materials must be relocated at least 15 meters, 49 feet horizontally from the hot work area. Construction Heater Fire Watch. Construction heaters powered by electricity, propane, or natural gas are used in unoccupied structures, typically under construction or renovation, to ensure paint, plaster, or cement dries properly during winter months without freezing. Construction heaters are also used to ensure water in plumbing or a sprinkler system at the job site does not freeze, resulting in a major water leak causing property damage. Structures under construction or renovation seldom have an active fire alarm system, so a fire in the structure could go undetected for hours, damaging property, and may even pose a fire risk to adjacent neighboring buildings, homes, and structures. With the addition of a high heat output construction heater, the risk of fire is increased. Generally, combustible materials must be kept at a minimum of 3 meters, 10 feet away from a temporary heater. In most municipalities, provinces, and territories, construction heaters cannot be left running unattended, and a fire watch guard is required to monitor and patrol the job site at least hourly or half-hourly to monitor the risk of fire due to heater or fuel supply malfunction. In the event of fire, the fire watch guard must immediately notify the fire department, sound the alarm to notify anyone that may be on site, assist in the evacuation of people to a safe distance outside the job site, and await the arrival of the fire department in the front of the job site. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Fire Watch. This concludes our video.